Well, hello. So what we're going to do is finish, we're going to do a 4A. That was 4A, this is going to be 4B. Because it's not very long, I decided I can do another little section of this book so we can knock the major section out tomorrow, hopefully. And where's the microphone, Donna? Oh, there it is. Okay, page 281. Are you going to come in or stand out there all day and stare at the flowers? Merle yelled from the door. Larissa looked up and smiled. Good morning, they're beautiful. Who is your gardener? Page 282. Merle stepped out onto the porch. Me. Old Southern women are supposed to grow flowers. I put the flower beds in when Ruby Lee died as a memorial to her. It seemed like a waste to take all the flowers from the grave to lie there and die. She was a live wire, not a wallflower. So I planted the flowers, and when I get lonesome for her, I come out here, sit on the bench, and we talk. What in the hell are you doing up and about this time of morning after the night you had at the honky-tonk? Larissa stopped at the bottom of the porch steps. What do you do in the winter? I plant pansies, and they're purple crap that looks like overgrown cabbages. I reckon she don't care what it looks like as long as I don't forget to tell her everything that happens. I've got lunch ready, made soup today. We'll eat early. Come on in. You can answer my questions while we eat. Merle held the door for her. That sounds wonderful. And is that bread I smell? Corn spread to go with the soup. Let's see. Where did I stop here? I whipped up some cinnamon rolls for dessert. Who else are you expecting? I got up this morning with a feeling that someone would be coming by. Thought it might be Angel. She still might run through sometime today. She often does. It's closer to come out here than to drive all the way back to the ranch, and besides, Garrett's noon, and hers is two different things. Merle led away through the small foyer into a great room, and the housed living room, dining rooms, and the kitchen. I love your house. You want to sell it? Larissa asked. Hell no. Had it built when we came to Mingus, exactly the way I wanted it, and I ain't changed my mind about what I want as far as a house goes in all these years. Honey Terrace couldn't blow my old butt out of here. Here, I'll show you the rest of it after we eat. What can I do to help? Larissa asked. Bowls are on the bar with the cornbread. Soup is on the stove. Don't need to go do anything but help yourself. We'll eat in here at the kitchen table. Since there's only two of us, it's cozier. Now tell me, what brings you to my house today? Merle picked up a bowl of crumbled cornbread in the bottom and carried it to the stove, where she filled it. Larissa did the same. Tea in the fridge? Yes, it is. Ice in the door. Make us both one, Merle said. Larissa blew out a spoonful of hot soup, and before she put it in her mouth, good, she muttered. Picante sauce. Larissa's eyes asked the question. That's the secret. Half a cup of picante sauce. It spices it up and puts a little fire into it. I'm always glad for company, but why are you here, Larissa? I woke up to find Luther and Hank on my porch this morning. Luther is fighting with Tessa. She wants to ask you if she can work at a bar a couple nights a week to make some extra Christmas money. She helped Charlene the other night, and she's damn good. Luther don't want her to work in the bar. Well, that's a double standard. He works for me, Larissa said. Yes, it is, and they'll work it out. Luther is still carrying around baggage about his ex-wife and that driller that she had an affair with. He's got to let it go and realize Tessa isn't that piece of trash. She's a good woman. I'm sure Luther wanted you to tell him that he was right and for you to not hire Tessa. Now what in the hell was Hank doing there? Larissa tipped up her tea. He said he and Hayes had a fight, and he won. He says he wants to be Hank on a full-time basis. Henry's giving him the ranch, and he's going to be a rancher. You got a problem with that? Merle said. He'll get bored. He's used to the fast life. Did you? Mingus is a little smaller than Cairo or London or even Stockholm. They're a hell of a lot more exciting than Dallas, Texas, and you lived on all of them before you moved here. It sounds to me like you and Luther got a lot in common. 282, 283, 284, 285. What? Larissa was dumbfounded. She expected Merle to offer to have Hank killed like she had an old boyfriend of Kathy's back in the day when Kathy owned the honky-tonk. Luther's judging, and so were you. Maybe not for all the same reasons. You didn't know Hayes except for a day in hell, for less than an hour. How do you know that he wasn't dissatisfied with Dallas before he ever met you or came to Mingus the last time? Are you telling me to pick up where we left off? Hell no! You got to start all over if you're interested in that cowboy. Toss that part out the window and start from scratch. Just like me when I make a mess of a shirt. I can't very well patch up on the design and expect to sell the same damn thing. I have to throw it in the trash can, pick up a piece of material, and build another shirt. That's what you got to do if You are interested, Merle said. What about trust? That's why you start over. The trust is gone. You never could trust Hayes. Now you got to see if you can trust Hank. And that's already a bit shaky, so don't get in a hurry. Give it time. Build a good solid foundation. You can't put up a house without a foundation that'll weather cold, hot, and everything in between. Learn to be his friend and let him be yours. Then go on from there. Larissa smiled. How'd you get to be so smart? Old age. You don't give me that line of crap. Merle Avery is ageless. For that, you get 2 cinnamon rolls. That's 284 and 285. 287 and 288 and 289. Hank slid onto a bar stool. I know one customer you danced with once upon a time. Yes, and look what it got me, she said. Her crazy heart was acting like her fat cells when they found a hidden candy bar. Over the top with excitement and couldn't wait to get off the paper and taste the sweetness. What did it get you, Charlene? Could I get a martini? Hank raised his voice, but it didn't take his eyes off of Larissa's face. If fate would let him, he would be content to sit on that bar stool the rest of his life, sinking into the depths of her brown eyes. It got me in a mess, and I thought Hayes was gone. That was 287. Here's 288 and 289. He is, she nodded toward Charlene, who was heading toward the mixed drink table. Martini? Hank likes them too, especially the ones that he gets at the honky-tonk. They're almost as good as the owner is beautiful. Flattery will get you nowhere, she said. I'm not uttering the words of flattery, ma'am. I'm speaking the pure gospel truth. Charlene looked at Larissa before she even made the martini. At her nod, she put it together and set it in front of Hank. What are you doing here? I've been answering that question all day. I'm here for a drink and a little conversation with customers, to listen to some good old country music and watch the dancing. I'd asked the pretty boss to dance with me, but she told me that the other man that she doesn't want to dance with customers. So I guess that's what I am tonight. So that's what I'm doing here, he said. I need help, Tessa called. Enjoy the martini. Larissa left Hank on the bar stool and went to help her draw a dozen beers. What happened? Charlene whispered out the side of her mouth. I figured you'd shoot him on the spot if he ever showed of his face in this honky-tonk again. I'll tell you the whole story after we close tonight, Larissa promised. That's 5.5 hours from now. I can't wait that long. Short version, then. He moved back permanently, showed up on my porch this morning. More later. That'll keep me until we close, Charlene said seriously. 288, 289. I think we said we were going to go. That's me, myself, and I. Okay, we'll do this page here. 295. She'd been thinking about Charlene being at the ranch with Hank and trying to get past that little jolt of jealousy. While she listened with one ear to what Henry said, when he asked the question, she came back to the moment with a jolt. Why are you asking that? 1 year, Larissa. In that amount of time, we'll see if he's Hank or Hayes. This is my dream, that my son would come home to the ranch that I love, but I'm afraid to believe it. He's partly here because of you. You got every right to tell him to go straight to hell, the way he's done you. If he was a kid, I'd take him out behind the woodshed and use a switch on him for it. But he ain't. I'm afraid to tell him that all his chances are gone. He'll go back to Dallas if I have him a year, and then he'll put his roots down. Merle says I have to start all over from scratch if I'm interested in him. That I have to go slow and give it time, Larissa said. Henry pulled a red bandana from a bib pocket of his stripped overalls and wiped the sweat from his forehead. Merle is a smart woman. Always has been. Tried to talk sense to me when we were younger. I wouldn't listen. Larissa stuck out her hand. 1 year. He shook it firmly. He ain't going to take roots by then. I'll let him go. That's 295, 296. We're going to go to page 300. So that way it'll get us into the bigger part of the book. Page 297. Hello, was it a tough night? Hank said from the kitchen stove. She jumped like she'd been caught naked on Main Street at high noon. You scared the crap out of me. Sorry, I couldn't sleep, so I got down and drove down here. I was going to sit on the porch and wait for you, but you still hide the key in the same place. You want your eggs fried or scrambled? Bacon's cooked. Biscuits will be out of the oven in 5 minutes, he said. I said we'd go slow, remember? Slow my butt. How does one go from slow with all that testosterone in a room the size of a kitchen? I'm too Tired to chew but I bet I could wrangle up enough energy to jerk them jeans off his sexy hind end. Page 298. Fried. Easy over. I'm going to take a quick shower and get the smoke off me. Better hurry. The cold eggs will be horrible. And the middle of 298. Perfect timing. Biscuits just came out of the oven. I buttered them already, and the last 3 eggs are fried. Have a seat, and I'll pour the coffee for us, he said hoarsely. The woman was even sexier in a bathrobe and a towel than in a turban. He didn't care if her name was Ruth, Larissa, or even Miss Piggy. She didn't wait for the coffee and slid 3 eggs, half a pound of bacon, and a pile of hashed brown potatoes onto her plate. He could cook, paint, and haul hay, plus he could dance, and that was damn good in her bedroom department. That should be the first block of many foundations of a new, then better than relationship. But that could be her hormones talking, not her common sense. So? Wonderful, she said, around a mouthful of flaky buttered biscuit. I didn't mean the food. Do I get a second chance? She stopped and met his stare across the table. I'm never quitting my job at the honky-tonk. Hank, you sure you want a second chance? Did I ask you to leave the tonk? You are Henry's son, she reminded him, and I can learn by his mistakes, can't I? I just wanted to make that clear from right now at the beginning, Hank. Anyone takes me, they have to take my beer joint. I don't care about you being a barmaid, he said. Okay, then let's get this things really very slow and see where they end up. I don't want to rush anything. Deal, he said. I was wondering if after breakfast you would like to go do something very slow. I mean it, Hank. No boom boom. He raised both dark eyebrows. Ever? 6 months at least. I said slow. I didn't say never. If we're going to build anything from the ashes of a failed relationship, it cannot be rushed. I can live with that, but what I was talking about had nothing to do with boom boom. I'm glad that you thought of it, because now I know the rule. Got any more? I'll think about it and get back to you. What were you talking about? He handed her another biscuit. I've got an old quilt behind the seat of my truck. I know a place on the rise of the ranch that is a wonderful spot to watch the sunrise. You don't get to see something like that in your line of work very often. Okay, she said. Okay. Thank you. He reached across the table, wiped a bit of butter from the edge of her mouth with a napkin. 6 months. I made that damn rule. Now I have to live with it, she thought. That was page 297, 298, 299, and 300. We pick up at 301. But I wanted to make a little bit more headway. So glad I did that. Because we also have 2 magazines to review sometime tomorrow, too. So, whew. Well, it looks like we can do 301 right now because it's just a short paragraph. Where is he? It seems to me like you went to the end of the world and made a right. We are back at the side of the ranch. There's a fence straight ahead of us that separates our land from the neighbors. He raises longhorns, we raise Angus. Got to have a few good fences. We're going to go up to the top of that rise. He threw a quilt over his shoulder and picked up a sack. This way. She began to pick her way among the cow-tongue cactus and the tall weeds. If I get chiggers, I'm going to pitch a fit. I'll check you for ticks when we get home, he laughed. That's not original. Brad Paisley put that song out a couple years ago. He grabbed her hand with a free one. Who do you suppose gave him that idea? Are you lying to me again? She asked. Yes, I am, but I will be glad to check you for ticks any time you need me to. I will remember that offer, Mr. Wells, she said. You do that, Ms. Morley. That's a cute page to end on. Okay, so we will pick up at page, big hunk of book we passed up there, 320. And I think we can finish it tomorrow night. That's good news. So, more tomorrow night.